What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Marav Temi. Join you back on a late Monday, April 20th. Happy 420, anybody out there that's celebrating 420. All my smokers, I'm not, but if you guys are, props to you guys. Have a great day out there. But doesn't stop us from talking about sports. We got a lot of sports to cover. The NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs complete their game ones of all eight series? Yeah, eight series. So 16 series. 16 series complete their game ones. That's all in the books. We see some NFL trades. I didn't talk about the Dexter Lawrence trade. That was something that happened over the weekend. I completely missed somehow. But today, the New England Patriots trade for A.J. Brown. That trade's not official. We don't know exactly what that trade is going to consist of. But Adam Schefter reporting that that is a done deal and it is going to happen and be finalized by June 1st. The only reason we'll get into the details of why it's June 1st, how it affects both teams, the Eagles and the Patriots. The Patriots just winning the AFC this past season for the first time since the Brady era. We have a lot to talk about in terms of that. And like I said, game twos in the NBA, NHL, get a little bit of some Red Sox action. And yeah, really quick, before I go any further, drop a follow, drop a like. You can find all my content here on TikTok. If you want to get all the full versions of the shows, you can catch us on the Triple Threat Show. You can find all our content there. Shout out my boy Bronny. Go Knicks. We're going to talk about all the Knicks in this show, buddy. But before I move any further, I'm not wearing my Bruins hat. I don't usually start with hockey. I'm starting with hockey today. I'm starting with hockey because, boy, did these boys get my head. These where's the logo? These assholes. These assholes right here. Tilt the damn thing. This thing. That damn logo. I gotta calm down. Because I gotta make sure I know what I'm saying here. Because I don't want to get banned on TikTok. B, I don't want to get a content restriction on YouTube for saying some nonsense. But holy shit, did the team piss down their leg when they mattered most. Jeremy Swayman has a great first two periods. The entire team has a great couple periods. They score early first of all, they score in the first period to take a 1-0 lead. On the road in Buffalo, that stadium was rocking. That arena, for the first time, the Buffalo Sabres are not even hosting a playoff game. They're a part of the NHL playoffs for the first, well, I guess hosting, that matters. Hosting a playoff game for the first time in 15 years. The Buffalo Sabres. So they're ready to go. They're finally getting their juice under them. They're feeling some sort of ways. Their crowd is ready to go. The Bruins go out there and score the first goal. They take momentum. They take it all the way through the third period. Both teams obviously playing physical. Bruins, we knew the physicality in this series would be there for the Bruins, and they were going to take advantage of that through the entire first round of the playoffs. But they go through the first round, through the second round, second period. Into the third period. They score the opening goal of the third period. Take a 2-0 lead. It's 8 minutes to play. The Bruins have a 2-0 lead. They can steal game one. Instantly put the momentum on their side throughout these playoffs, throughout the rest of this first round. They have all the pieces are there for them to be successful. And you blow a 2-0 lead. You give up 2 goals in 3 minutes. To the same guy in Tage Thompson. Obviously, he's their best guy in Buffalo. Tage Thompson's their best player. They were going to score. He was going to be the guy that was going to get the spark going for the Sabres. You knew who it was going to be. You knew it. He gets the first one. Okay. The second one, the wraparound goal, gets past Lindholm, breaks his stick, gets past Swayman. All right, fine. 2-2 with 4 minutes to play. You still got time. You're fine. The third goal, it sneaks right under, Jeremy Swayman's left pad. The Sabres go up 3-2, and then Tuck puts a wide open net goal in, taking a 4-2 lead. All in the span of 5 minutes. All in the span of 5 minutes, the Bruins let a 2-0 lead slip to go down 4-2. And I don't care that they scored a goal with 7 seconds left. Congratulations. Take that goal back to Boston. Go shove it down where the sun don't shine. But I don't care. I genuinely, you cannot get me more riled up than I was last night driving home listening to that game. I sit down. I'm watching the game at work. Oh, they're up 2-0. They're in a good spot. I sit down in my car because I got to drive home, so I'm obviously going to listen to it. Oh, They're up 2-0. Buffalo scores a goal. I'm like, all right, fine. 2-1. Just finish the game. You're in Buffalo. You have the lead. Everything that you want is right in front of you. And they just sell. They sell when you needed them most. And this is classic Boston Bruins style. We know what they did in 2023. We know what they did in 2018. We know what they did in 2013. The team hasn't won a cup since 2011. And they're supposed to be the most successful franchise in NHL history. They haven't. All of their cups came in the 1990s. So this team continues to show why they're the choke artists that they have been throughout the 2020s, throughout the 2000s. And honestly, I'm just done with this team. I'm not saying that they're going to lose. It's still a long series. It's still game one. But what last night showed me is that the Bruins are still the same old damn Bruins. They're the same old team. They're the same team that if they have a lead going down into the late stages of the game, you can never trust them. You can never trust them with a lead. You can never have faith that they're just going to close the game, that the game's over. It doesn't matter how much they dominated the game. The last 5 minutes of the game, if they hold a lead, we're all shitting our pants if we're Bruins fans. Every single one of us that calls ourselves legit Bruins fans, which even I wouldn't even call myself a legit Bruins fan. I would just say I'm from Boston. I'm a Bruins fan. The diehard Bruins fans, I don't even want to know what they had to deal with last night. Dealing with the amount of bullshit that you had to deal with down the stretch of that game. We've dealt with for the last 12 years, 15 years, since 2011. I just went down the list. 2013 losing to the Blackhawks. 2018 losing to the St. Louis Blues. 2021, 2023 losing to the Panthers. 2022 and 2023 you lost to the Panthers. I mean, it speaks for itself what the team has done. And yes, the team wasn't supposed to be here in this situation whatsoever, but you're here now. You have to deal with it. At this point, with where the Bruins are at, you just have to take what it is, and you have to be able to live with it. That's all I got to say. So, that's just my Bruins thing. I'm just going to leave it at that because if I keep talking, I'm going to keep talking and yapping out of my ass for another 20 minutes about how pissed off I was last night. But after that, I want to switch gears back to the NBA. Back to some good talk. We're going to go switch gears to the other Boston team that actually knows how to play good in their sport and knows how to hold a lead, even if they're up by, even though the Celtics do lose 20-point leads sometimes. But they haven't done it so far this year. They've been pretty good about it. Last night, the Boston Celtics beat the brakes off the Philadelphia 76ers. We know how good the Celtics are. A lot of people said, specifically Sixers fans, we want Boston, we want Boston. I posted a video about it. You guys all want Boston until you get Boston. New York sitting there talking about we want Boston too. You'll get it. Don't worry, you'll get it. Just hold your horses. Wait a week and wait 10 days. Wait 10 days and you'll get Boston. Don't you worry. We're waiting for you. But the Boston Celtics beat the absolute break off the Philadelphia 76ers last night. And it's not only just that, it's the fact that Jason Tatum continues to show why he's one of the best players in the league. Why he is, yes, he's still the number 2 option on this year's Celtics team. But come next year, I expect both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to find themselves in a 1A, 1B role that's honestly interchanging. Sometimes it's Jaylen Brown, sometimes it's Jason Tatum. Last night, at least through 2 quarters, it was all Jason Tatum in the first half. 20 points or 21 points through the first half, 10 points and 7 rebounds through the first quarter. This man was an absolute machine on the offensive end. Machine. You were feeding him the ball. He was open at all times on the perimeter, and the Sixers couldn't do anything about it. You put Paul George up against him, it's barbecue chicken. You put Andre Drummond against him, it's barbecue chicken. Either Tatum's hitting the step back, launching a 3-pointer, or he's launching it inside to Vucevic or inside to Kata to put in the slam, to put it up for a slam. I mean, if you guys watch that game, the Celtics beat the Sixers in every which way. Yeah, you saw Paul George hit some shots, and yeah, it was the 2-man show with Joel Embiid. We'll get to him in a second. With Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. We know how good Tyrese Maxey is and how good he can be. But when you go down and look at how the game actually played out, it was all Boston, all the way through. From the starting tip all the way through the finish. It was the Celtics. They're that good. They finished the game with a 30-point lead, 30-point finish, put 120 piece on them, didn't even let the Sixers get to 100 points. But what the Sixers have in terms of offensively, they're never going to get 100 points in this series against the Celtics. It's just not going to happen. VJ Edgecombe, supposed to be one of the leading finalists for Rookie of the Year, he goes for 13 points, and he had one of his worst games that we've ever seen him have. I mean, you just go look at the plus minus. Minus 21 for Kelly Oubre. Minus 26 for Edgecombe. Minus 29 for Tyrese Maxey. Minus 21 for Justin Edwards. Minus 19 for Andre Drummond. Your best plus minus was 0 for Adam Bona, which I'm probably butchering his name. I apologize. And he was a 0. 0, meaning neutral, meaning just mid. That's what the Sixers were last night dealing with the Celtics. A lot of it falls on Nick Nurse, and if you guys know a YouTube page, but shout out at Awful Coaching, their YouTube page. Check out their video if you guys want to learn more about what Nick Nurse had to deal with, because it was him. I'm going to give him all the props for the way that he broke down what Nick Nurse did. Not being able to play in transition, not being able to deal with the switches that the Celtics were throwing at him. You saw Joe Mazzulla calling out what the Sixers' next play call was going to be after their timeout. Screaming at Jaylen Brown, pin down, pin down, pin down. It's going to be a pin down. Andre Drummond is going to pin you down in the corner. And all Jaylen Brown had to do was draw an offensive foul on the screen. I mean, what the Celtics did, out-physicaled, outshot them, outplayed them, out-talented them, out-coached them. And Nick Nurse was a Coach of the Year candidate once upon a time with the Toronto Raptors. Once upon a time won an NBA championship with the 2019 Toronto Raptors. And I don't want to hear it, but KD was hurt, Klay Thompson was hurt, Kawhi won him that championship. I don't want to hear that. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't Kawhi Leonard's decision to pick up Giannis in midcourt in that Eastern Conference Finals series. Because they easily could have gone to the Milwaukee Bucks going to the finals that year. If you guys know ball, you know what I'm talking about. It could have easily been. Nick Nurse is one of the best head coaches in the entire NBA. In the entire NBA. But last night, or yesterday afternoon, was one of his worst performances as a coach we've ever seen. Ever. I mean, it was abysmal. Not being able to deal with transitions. Celtics always going up there for... it was pretty much a layup lines every 5 seconds for the Celtics. And yes, the Celtics love to shoot threes, but if you actually watch that game, it was just a layup line every 10 seconds for the Celtics. Kata getting open ducks. Tatum getting to the rack whenever he wanted. Jaylen Brown using the back door on Paul George. And it all goes on Nick Nurse's coaching. Inability to coach his guys where they need to be, when they need to be there. It all falls on Nick Nurse. Now, if the Philadelphia 76ers can get Joel Embiid back, I'm sorry. At this point, I'm not willing to say that he's going to win the game. It may get close. Maybe Joel Embiid can go out there and put up 20 points and continue and give the Sixers a little bit of a spark. But with what the Celtics do to them offensively, with the way that they've developed their guys in Baylor Shireman and Sam Hauser, in Jaylen Brown and his progression as a superstar talent. Yes, I said a superstar talent, Jaylen Brown. This Celtics team is a buzzsaw in the Eastern Conference. The New York Knicks can get it. The Detroit Pistons can get it. And we'll get to them in a second. Don't you worry. Anybody in the Eastern Conference can get what the Celtics have in store for them. And dare I say the entire Western Conference. I'm not willing to go that far yet because I still say whoever comes out of the West is still going to win the NBA Finals, especially if it's the Denver Nuggets. I'm picking the Nuggets against the Celtics. I've said it, and I will continue to argue that take against anybody's. But right now for this show, for the first round of the NBA playoffs in a game one that we saw yesterday, it was Jason Tatum in the first half. It was Jaylen Brown taking over in the second half, in the third quarter specifically. He outscored Jason Tatum, who put up 20 points in the first half. He outscored Jason Tatum. Finished with 26 in Jaylen Brown. Just a phenomenal all-around performance for the guys. And it wasn't even the best shooting performance for Tatum. Tatum finishing with 25, 11, and 7, 2 steals. Jaylen Brown on the other side, 26, 4, and 3. It was an efficient night. Tatum's just turning into a facilitator all the way around. Turning into a utility guy while also being an offensive presence. That is when you look at a superstar, it's not just about what they do offensively. And that's what my big problem is with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, for me, can't be the number one player in the NBA. Why? Because it's not about what you do offensively. Victor Wembanyama can be number one for me in the NBA. Nikola Jokic could be number one for me in the NBA. But Luka Doncic can't be because he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it defensively. He might have the numbers offensively. He can turn into a Russell Westbrook triple-double machine when he wants to be, and especially in big moments, in big games, and especially in playoff games. But he can't be the all-around player that you need him to be. Jason Tatum is that kind of guy. Jaylen Brown is that kind of guy. Dare I say even Anthony Edwards can be that kind of guy with the way that he plays defense and all around is a phenomenal basketball player. Those are the creme de la creme best players in the NBA. And yes, Luka can be up there, but he's not going to be one. He'll be in the top 5 for his offensive skill set, but he won't be number 1. That's just me. But what we saw last night for the Boston Celtics needs to be a sign for the entire NBA to watch out. The way they were able to stop the Sixers offensively, the way they were able to stifle and give Nick Nurse headaches, outcoach them, run laps around them, put a 30-piece on them, the Boston Celtics are going to win this series in 4 games. I'm not even willing to say 5. They're up there with the Oklahoma City Thunder and how confident I am they're going to go out there and sweep that series, put the Celtics in that conversation. You may have said at one point the Pistons could have been in that conversation, but let's switch gears over to the Magic because I already alluded to it. Let's just get over there and let's get it over with. I had 2 picks wrong, one in the NBA and one in the NHL yesterday. My one pick in the NBA was I didn't expect the number 8 Magic to go on the road to beat a Detroit Pistons team that hasn't played in literally a week. They hadn't played in a full week. Full rested Cade Cunningham finally getting his legs under him, finally being able to get some quality rest, puts a 39-piece on, and the entire Pistons team doesn't show up. I mean, Jalen Duren is the guy that I have to point to first. 8 points. This is supposed to be a number 2 option in Jalen Duren. This is why the Pistons were fine getting rid of Jaden Ivey to send him to the Bulls and get a guy like a Karis LeVert and a Kevin Huerter in there because they knew they would be fine without him. They knew they had a guy in Jalen Duren that was ready to step up as the number 1 center on the team, and they could go more small ball, get some more shooters over there because they could rely on Jalen Duren being the anchor for this team. 8 points, 7 rebounds, in 33 minutes. This is a guy who averaged 25 and 14 in his sleep, Jalen Duren, especially without Cade in the lineup. He was a machine for the Detroit Pistons without Cade in the lineup, and he was being the anchor on the defense that you need him to be in the paint, getting rebounds whenever you want him to be. That's what Jalen Duren is to this team. That's what he means to this team. And I continue to say they need to get more shooters around Cade, and that was my big issue with this Pistons team. We saw it last year with the Knicks when they faced the Knicks in the playoffs. The playoffs are just so much slower than it is in the NBA in the regular season. The game slows down so much that you need to be able to get guys open. You need to be able to draw up plays and run the offense smoothly to run a complete game. You need 4 complete games to win a series. And what Orlando put on last night, they put on a complete game. Paulo Banchero, 23 and 9. Franz Wagner, 19 and 5 with 4 assists and 2 steals. Wendell Carter Jr., 17, 7 and 5. Desmond Bain, 17 and 6. Jalen Suggs, 16, 4, 4 and 3. 3 steals and a block. I mean, it was an all-around performance for the Orlando Magic. And I don't know what happened since the Philadelphia 76ers series, or playing game, I don't know who talked to them. I don't know what they heard, what lit a fire under their ass. Maybe it was me, because I was clowning this team as soon as that game finished. And I was clowning them yesterday, saying that the Pistons could beat them by 25 and beat them badly, especially a Pistons team won the number 1 overall seed, hadn't been more hyped up for a playoffs. Haven't been more hyped up for a playoffs since the 1990s, the Detroit Pistons. This is a Pistons team that hasn't seen playoff success like this since then. Hasn't seen any sort of hype around them since probably the Andre Drummond era, which they were just sniffing the number 8, number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they were getting dominated by LeBron James in the first round. This is what we're comparing this Detroit Pistons team to. So, for me to go out there yesterday and compare the Orlando Magic to the 90s Pistons, and they play the Pistons in the first round and put an absolute mollywop on them. I mean, 112 to 101. And it doesn't look close. I don't care what it looks like. The Pistons outscored them in the fourth quarter, outscored them everywhere you need to be, and outplayed them, out-hustled them. It was the Pistons just wanted it more in this game. That's what it flat out comes down to. Wendell Carter Jr. was a plus 20 on the floor last night. Plus 20. That means offensively, defensively, effort-wise, all-around gameplay. The Orlando Magic outplayed the Detroit Pistons in transition, in rebounding, Desmond Bane being able to hit outside shots, and he didn't even hit he hit some shots from the perimeter, but he didn't shoot well from outside. 1 of 8 from 3. Jalen Suggs, 3 of 10 from 3. Nobody shot very well from 3 last night. You could say Paolo Banchero was their most efficient shooter yesterday, going 8 of 15, and that's shocking. Paolo Banchero being their most efficient shooter. I'm not saying that the Detroit Pistons are on upset watch yet, because I do think this was the worst game you'll see from Jalen Duren, from Asher Thompson, from Duncan Robinson, even though he's a little bit inconsistent. I expect these guys to step up in a game 2. But if the Detroit Pistons lose game 2, it's a different story. If the Detroit Pistons lose game 2, I don't care if it's a blowout. I don't care if it's close. The Orlando Magic win this series in 5 games, 6 games, max. Max 6 games. You're not winning 2 games in Orlando. It's not going to happen. Playing in Orlando is a different beast. Playing in that environment is different. And it's not for the faint of heart. If you are just going to think you're going to stroll up into Orlando and steal a game from them, fine. You can steal one. You're not going to steal both. That's what they've proven throughout the play-in tournament, throughout the regular season. They've played phenomenally at home. They've been one of the best home teams in the entire NBA over the last few years. They're 25 and 15 at home, and they're 19 and 20 on the road. There's a reason I said this team can't play on the road. They're a different team at home versus when they are at home, versus when they're on the road. If that starts to switch, if the Magic can find their spark and start being able to play on the road like they played last night, this is a different Orlando Magic team. And this is why they were one of the hottest teams going under the radar right behind the Charlotte Hornets, taking all the fame the Charlotte Hornets because of their stardom, because of the guys that the Hornets had. While the Magic were quietly just getting healthy, Magic were quietly starting to get some momentum going. I don't know. This Magic team is weird, is different, is unpredictable. I don't want to face them if I'm the Celtics. We wouldn't have to face them until the conference finals. But for what we saw last night, the Detroit Pistons have to go out and win game 2. If they don't win game 2, this series ends in 6 games, max. If not 5, because Orlando is that good of a team at home. That's all I got to say. And this was all on the doorstep of Cade Cunningham scoring 39 points in a game. All of this happened while Cade was putting 40 up. It's not normal. It doesn't make sense. I wish I watched the game more intently. I was at work. I'll be watching tomorrow for game 2. But we'll see how I'll be back tomorrow to preview that game 2. That's all I got to say. Because I don't know what else to really say about it outside of that. From there, we can go over to the Thunder and the Spurs, because I wanted to get the exciting stuff out before we went over to the boring stuff. You look at what the Spurs did to we'll start with the Spurs and Trailblazers. Denny Advia is a star player in this league. You can hate him for what the political side of it says. You can go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and let you do that. And I think the entire NBA community says you go out there and say whatever you want and feel the way you feel. We don't want to hear it, though, from you. We will not be listening. Because Denny Advia is a star in this league. He's been a star in this league this entire year. And he was one of the snubs or actually he made the All-Star game. He was one of the quiet, underrated players throughout this entire regular season in Portland. What Portland's done with Thiago Splitter being their interim head coach after the firestorm that they had to deal with Chauncey Billups before the season started, having Thiago Splitter come in with Jeremy Grant, with Drew Holiday, the two veterans over there, being able to corral the younger guys with Denny Advia, with Donovan Clingan, with Scoot Henderson, bring them all together as a team and be the pulse of that locker room with Thiago Splitter bringing his player presence. That's why the Portland Trailblazers are in the playoffs where they are right now. Now, I knew the Spurs were going to win last night because it was their first playoff series at home in a first legit playoff series in 7 years. Actually, probably more than that, 8 years since the Kawhi Leonard era over there. And if you want to go farther back, you can go even farther because Kawhi Leonard being there doesn't matter. They haven't been this competitive for an NBA championship since Tim Duncan was there in 2014. So this Spurs team is hyped. They're ready to go. They're juiced up. They have energy and they have pep in their step. They have a lot of young guys that have a lot to prove in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama being the number one of them. De'Aaron Fox is not a snub. Stephon Castle has a lot to prove as in his second season. Dylan Harper is a rookie who's in Rookie of the Year contention, one of the Rookie of the Year finalists, has come on really hot of late. They have a lot of guys that have been in these situations. Harrison Barnes being a former NBA champion. Devin Vassell being in the NBA for the last 5 years. They have a lot of guys that have experience, that have been there, done that. But it's going to come down to Victor Wembanyama. What you saw from him last night, putting up 35 points, being as efficient, shooting 5 of 6 from three-point range, playing like a guard with 2 blocks in the game. That's what you need from Victor Wembanyama if the Spurs are going to win this series. Now, I'll be honest, though. You knew that the score, that this team was going to be juiced up and ready to go for Game 1. But I'm looking at Portland to win Game 2. I'm looking forward to Game 3 and Game 4 and saying, well, first of all, I got to look to Game 2 to see how the Trailblazers respond. And if you ask me, I think the Trailblazers go out and win in San Antonio, even up the series going back to Portland. And then it goes to Portland and you see how the Spurs are going to respond. Because Portland is a different team. I'm not saying they're like Orlando was. Portland's been one of the hottest teams, though, this year over the second half of the season. Since the All-Star break, they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. And they've proven to be able to hang with the best teams in the league. They almost beat the 13 game win streak Denver Nuggets. They almost beat them and snapped that win streak. That's how good this Trailblazers team can be. They've gone toe-to-toe with the San Antonio Spurs, with the Los Angeles Lakers, with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've been one of the best teams at home, 24-17 at home versus 18-23 on the road. So I guess in that case, yeah, they are similar to the Orlando Magic. I unfortunately just haven't been paying attention to them as much. I don't think anybody has. I just knew how good Denny Advia has been keeping this team afloat and has been quietly keeping them flying under the radar in a loaded Western Conference. I'm not saying Portland's going to go out there and upset an NBA title contender because the Spurs are title contenders. But this is a Spurs team that's seeing this all for the first time. And they're going up against a legit NBA champion level head coach. And when I say that, he won an NBA championship. He knows what it takes to get there. He knows what it takes for a leader to lead a team to get there. Thiago Splitter is probably the best guy for the job right now in Portland. With Drew Holiday, with Jeremy Grant. Drew Holiday won an NBA championship as well. Literally 2 years ago with the Boston Celtics. So he's been there. With the youth that's over there, this is the perfect situation for a dark horse, for an underdog to step up and steal and shock the world. That's what Portland's doing. They're playing with fire right now. Well, I guess in that case, the Spurs are playing with fire right now. They just have to be careful not to get burnt. The Trailblazers are ready to go. They're there, and they're going to be ready for Game 2. Victor Wembanyama is going to need to play his best game. His best game cannot be what Game 1 was. Because what the Trailblazers can do, I'm just going to say this really quick because we do need to move forward into the NHL as well. I've already been talking about this for 30 minutes. And then we have NFL talk to get to. But what the Trailblazers can do All they have to do is put Victor Wembanyama on an island, say, okay, Victor, you can do what you want to do. 1v5 us if you want. We're going to take all the other guys out of the picture. We're going to put Donovan Clingan in the paint to deal with you, who can deal with Wembanyama. He can't score points, but he can play defense. He can play good defense against Wemby in the paint. He had 7 rebounds last night. He held his own against Wemby last night. But you take De'Aaron Fox away. You take Dylan Harper away. You take Stephon Castle away. And then you say, try to 1v5 us. And you saw last night he put up 35 and he was able to do it. Had a great efficient shooting night. But let's say he didn't have that. Let's say Victor Wembanyama shot 4 of 13 from the field and shot like 1 of 5 from 3, which is very, very, very capable in the NBA of happening any given night. Let's say De'Aaron Fox doesn't shoot 7 of 15 from the field and has a bad shooting night. All around, we are looking at this Portland Trailblazer team possibly sending this series to 7 games. I say 6 because I think San Antonio's good enough to shut the door on Portland and win close games with the ability and talent that Wemby has. I just don't think Portland has the talent right now. I don't think their guys are blossomed and nurtured enough to get to where they can get to. I think they can get there. They're just not there right now. And this is a phenomenal learning experience for a young Portland team. That's all I got to say. I'll preview Game 2 when we get there tomorrow. But let's move on really quick, touch on the Suns and Thunder. This series is going 4 games. I cannot believe that this game was already a 30-point win for an Oklahoma City Thunder team that shot, what did they shoot from 3? 30% from 3-point range. And they won by, actually more than 30, 40. 119-84 being the final. They won by 40. They won by 35. So you're telling me a team in the Phoenix Suns who shot, dude, they didn't shoot well either. But for a Thunder team to play the defense that they played on the Suns all night, and you expect the Suns to be able to win a game in this series? When the Thunder shot that poorly? All the Thunder had to do was play defense last night. Shea only had 25 points. Jalen Williams, 22 points. He's continued to show how good he's trying to continue to bring on that J-Dub in him that we know he can bring. We know how good Jalen Williams was last year, but we haven't seen it at all this year. The playoffs is a different beast. You can change your entire narrative in a postseason. That is how important the postseason is versus the regular season. You can play poorly for 82 games, and we'll give you a pass if you show up in the next 20 games and deliver a championship, or be a leading reason or a leading cause as to why your team wins a championship. J-Dub has the chance to do that. They does. And yes, he was injured all year, but he has a chance to turn all the spin around and give the Thunder a legit chance to win the NBA championship, which they do. With the team that they have built around Shea, with the team that they have built over there, the loaded roster that's sitting in OKC right now, they're probably the leading contender for the NBA championship right now. They are. You can go throughout San Antonio, you can go to Denver, you can even look at LA if you wanted to. But you have to give OKC the props that they deserve. That's all I got to say with that. OKC is going to finish this series in 4 games, and we'll go from there. But after that, that's all I got for the NBA in terms of Game 1s last night. We can preview the NBA tonight really quick as well, but I'm going to switch gears to the NHL first. Just because, well, actually, how about it? How about this? We'll finish the NBA, and then we'll go to the NHL, and then finish with the NFL. How about that? I know I'll try to talk a little bit quicker. I wish I had my water with me. It's oh well. When we're looking at the NBA matchups tonight, I'm pretty sure we get the Raptors and the Cavs. Raptors, Cavs, Hawks, Knicks, Timberwolves, Nuggets. No Lakers, Rockets tonight. I thought they were going to be on, but they're on tomorrow night. We get first Raptors, Cavs. It's all going to depend on the health of Emmanuel Quickley. If Quickley is in the game, I give the Raptors a fighting chance. They have a legit chance to win this game if Quickley is in the game. Unfortunately, he's ruled out for Game 2. He's continued to fight off that back injury. He was trying to fight back to come back late in the season. Didn't happen. The Cavs are going to win game 2. Just because that offense is so quintessentially, or Quickly is so quintessential to that offense. When Quickly went down, he was an all-star level candidate. He was a legit top 15 point guard in the NBA. And this is an NBA with some of the best point guard talent that we've ever seen. With Luka, with Steph, Jalen Brunson. James Harden has to be in that conversation. LaMelo Ball has to be in that conversation. There's a lot. I'm blanking on guys right now as well. But there's a multitude of guys that have been taking over the NBA. Jamal Murray has to be in that conversation. Emmanuel Quickly was playing to that sort of caliber, or close to it. Then he went down. Ever since he's been down, this Raptors team's been different. They fall from a 4 seed in the Eastern Conference to 5, fighting for that 5th spot, dealing with the Hawks, dealing with the Sixers, dealing with the Magic and Hornets as well. All in that span. That's where the Raptors were dropping to versus being up there with the Cavaliers in that sort of tier, in the middle tier of the Eastern Conference. If they can get him back for a game 3, give me the Raptors to win a do-or-die game 3, because if they go down 3-0, the series is over. But for tonight's sake, they're going to fall tonight to the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's going to suck. They're going to go down 2-0, and they're going to have to fight back in Toronto. But that's how good the Cleveland Cavaliers are. That's how good James Harden showed he can be. And honestly, that is the difference that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen make for this team. I said it in the preview before this series started. I'll say it again before game 2 starts. Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are the 2 difference makers in this series. Jakob Poeltl is good. He'll be able to fend some of the plays off, but he won't be able to fend all of them off, and he won't be able to fend both of them. He can deal with one. He can't deal with both. Not with the way that James Harden's playing and passing playing as a playmaker. Not with the plays that Donovan Mitchell is bringing with him. And all the way around. The entire Cleveland Cavaliers team is playing at a different level right now. So give me the Cavs to win tonight, probably by 10, 15 points. I'm not saying it's going to be another 20-point win. The Cavs blew the doors open on this game with a monstrous 20-point quarter from Max Strus when he went off and went 5 for 5 from 3. That won't happen again. But the Raptors will continue to play good ball. I expect Jamal Shed, he probably won't shoot 5 of 6 from 3, but I expect him to play pretty good basketball. Brandon Ingram still getting to his spots. Scotty Barnes getting to his spots. RJ Barrett shooting better than 3 of 6 from 3, 7 of 13 from the field, even though that's not even that bad. That's just how much of a vital piece Emmanuel Quickly is to this lineup, especially offensively. If they can get that offensive presence back on the floor, they'll be able to contend with the Cavs in terms of putting up points. They'll be able to make it a bit of a shootout game. Jakob Poeltl Jakob Poeltl would still get dominated by Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, but they'll be able to match up with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell's offensive production with the guys that they have around them in Toronto. So give me Toronto to lose tonight by 10, 15 points. We jump over to the Knicks and Hawks. I said the Hawks were going to win game 1. I still think they can win game 2. I still think they have a chance to win game 2, but I'm not picking them. The Knicks are that good. I think the Knicks win this series in 5 games. Yes, the Hawks will probably win game 3, but Karl-Anthony Towns is the difference maker in this series. The Hawks just don't have a center to deal with him. They don't. Okongwo's not big enough, and Zachary Rishishar, even though I'm probably butchering his name, isn't good enough. Zachary Rishishar might be one of the worst picks in NBA history. One of the worst number 1 overall picks. And it's unfortunate because the Atlanta Hawks do have a slew of guards that they can play with. But unless you have a guy that can deal with Karl-Anthony Towns, they have no chance. Like, imagine if the Hawks had Kristaps Porzingis right now. It would be a different series. I wouldn't say Cat would have 25 points a game with 10 rebounds like he is right now. That's what I expect Cat to do game in and game out from here on out. I wouldn't expect him to do that with Kristaps Porzingis. And the Hawks decided to trade him for Jonathan Kuminga, who's a good bench piece, who can turn up every now and again, but he can also have games like he did in game 1. 27 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 7 from the field, coming off the bench. CJ McCollum's been godsend for this team. Dyson Daniels continues to grow up and play and nurture himself into a quality forward in this league. Jalen Johnson is a borderline all-star. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a bona fide shooter for this team. And he was a big reason why this game stayed close down the stretch. But for the Knicks, it's what Jalen Brunson brings to the table, and it's Karl-Anthony Towns that's the difference maker for this team. Give me the Knicks to win this series in 5 games. For what I originally thought was going to be a long 7-game series, I'm changing my mind and I'm switching my picks to a 5-game series. I switched after I saw game 1. And I'm sorry, I apologize to Karl-Anthony Towns because I thought he was going to be inconsistent. I've seen a little bit of inconsistency in him. And even if he has a bad game tonight, I don't care. My pick is staying the same for the Knicks in 5 games. That's just how good of a team they are. And that's, unfortunately, how much of a mismatch Karl-Anthony Towns is for the Hawks. Give me the Knicks to win tonight in another close game, probably 5 to 10 points. And then to close it out, we get probably the best series of the entire NBA playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Denver Nuggets. I had the Nuggets winning this series in 6 games. I'm sticking with that. I'm picking the Nuggets to go up 2-0 based off of what Jokic has been able to do, with what Aaron Gordon brings with him, with what Jamal Murray can bring with them, with what Cam Johnson can bring with them. They don't even have Peyton Watson back on the court yet. When they can get him back, he's going to bring his own offensive game and offensive presence to the team. But this team is legit right now. They are. They are legit NBA title contenders. And until people realize that, until people are able to put what happened in 2023 to bed, they won't be able to, or 2024, I should say, they won't be able to realize it. They won't. A big reason why the Minnesota Timberwolves won 2 years ago is because they had Karl-Anthony Towns with Rudy Gobert. Gobert played some good defense on Jokic, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But he can't stop him alone. He needed Cat with him. He needed a Michael Porter Jr. to go out there and shoot 1 of 13 every single game for the Nuggets. Replace that with Cam Johnson, and you see what the Nuggets team is now. This team is up there for one of the best. This is probably the best Nuggets team we've seen. If it was the 2021 roster, in today's day and age, when they had Jeremy Grant as well, I would say that would probably be the best roster. But they don't have that anymore. With the slew of guys that they have right now, with the roster that they've built, this is the best Nuggets team that we've seen in this era with Jokic. This is better than 2023. They're that good. They are that good. So give me the Nuggets to win Game 2 tonight and finish this series in 6 games. I say 6 games because Anthony Edwards is going to go out there and win Game 3 and Game 4, putting a 40-piece up. He may put up a 40-piece tonight, but it's not going to be enough. Not in Denver. I think he'll win both games in Game 3 and Game 4 in Minnesota. And then the Denver Nuggets come back, win Game 5, and then finish off Game 6. That's just what I think. If the Nuggets finish off Game 4 or win one of those 2 games in Game 3 or Game 4, probably Game 4, it ends in Denver, which is honestly would be better for Anthony Edwards fans. And I'm one of them. But it would be better for them that are diehard that want to see Anthony Edwards win a chip. Because you don't want to see that man go down on his home court. It would be demoralizing for him. That's all I got to say. Denver Nuggets win tonight. I'm going to switch over to the NHL. I've been talking about NBA for 45 minutes. That's enough. Holy. I wish I had water. Shit, I forgot. Let's switch gears over to the NHL really quick. I was right. I went 3-1. I'm not going to talk about the Bruins like I did already. That's done. Avalanche beat the Kings 2-1 yesterday. That was a big-time game. You knew, I literally said this was going to be a game that the Avalanche were going to need to play complete. This entire series, every single game, they're going to need to play complete games because the Kings are going to bring the pressure. Adrian Kemp is going to bring the pressure with Anze Kopitar. Those 2 guys alone are going to put pressure on the Avalanche. But the Avalanche are going to have enough strength to get it done. It's just going to be about if they can play a complete game. They take game 1, like I said, Canadiens beat the Lightning in sensational fashion, winning in overtime. They're one of the best teams in the league. I picked the Canadiens to win this series. I expect the Lightning to go out there and win game 2, but Canadiens strike first. They've had the Lightning number this entire season. Mammoth and Golden Knights, that's the only series I got wrong yesterday. I picked the Mammoth to win that game. Completely wrong. Vegas wins that game 4-2. They take game 1. Putting up 3 unanswered in the third period. I mean, this Vegas team has got a lot of talent and guys that have been here, done that been in these situations. Mark Stone is a veteran in this league. Mitch Marner is not a scrub. The guy that they got from Toronto last year that they paid the big bucks for. Jack Eichel continues to be a offensive presence. Jeremy Lauzon. All these guys, they've been here. They've done that. They've been in these sort of situations. And you don't have to worry about are they going to crumble under pressure. That's why I picked Vegas to win this series in 6 games. So they take game 1. I expect them to take game 2 as well. And then we switch gears to Utah, which I expect them to win game 3. And then we'll see how game 4 goes. For tonight's action, Philadelphia Flyers and Penguins. One of the best series in the NHL right now. The Battle of Pittsburgh, or Battle of Pennsylvania, I should say. Pittsburgh goes down, loses game 1 in what was just a physical battle. You know tonight is going to be the same thing. But both teams throwing haymakers at each other, literally, going goal for goal. But it was Philly that put them away late in that third period, scoring the go-ahead goal that ended up winning the game 3-2. I expect Pittsburgh to go out and punch Philly back. I know Philly's good. I know they're hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're ready to go. They're red hot. They are red hot when they need it most. And they've been red hot for the last 2 months. But what Pittsburgh has done with Sidney Crosby, with their lineup over there, I expect them to show some sort of fervor, some sort of presence on the ice tonight. And Pittsburgh Penguins get it done on their home ice. Even it up going back to Philly. If they go down 2-0, if they go down 0-2 going back to Philly, the season's over. The series is over. You're not winning 2 games in Philly. It's not happening. After that, you get the Senators and Hurricanes. Hurricanes are one of the best home teams in the league. I'm picking the Hurricanes against the Senators in Carolina. I said this after game 1. Hurricanes will win game 1 and game 2. Ottawa will win game 3. Most likely game 4. That'll be the one that we circle, and we decide a lot of things. And then we'll see how game 5 goes. But the Senators fall tonight against the Hurricanes, I think. I know the Senators have a good team. Linus Ullmark did all that he could. Shout out the former Boston Bruin. He did the best that he could in net for Ottawa in game 1. But the Hurricanes are that good of a team. Unless the Senators can put pucks in the back of the net and capitalize on their power plays, which they weren't able to do in game 1, this series is going to fall to Carolina. I wouldn't be shocked if the Senators steal one, but I'm picking Carolina to win tonight. And then we close out with the best series of the entire NHL. This is actually, we get 2 games tonight. We get 2 games tonight. Why do we get game 1s and game 2s? I just realized that. We'll get there in a second. That's honestly my bad on me for not seeing that. But you got actually 2 more games. You get the Wild and the Stars, which is the best series in the NHL right now. The best series in the NHL playoffs is hands down the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. Game 1 didn't show that because Minnesota put an absolute rumping on Dallas in Dallas, winning that game 6-1, going up 4-0 in the second period, or I guess 4-1. But Minnesota is that good. They're not a team to mess with. I expect Dallas to turn around and have an answer for this team. But if they go down 0-2, it becomes a different ballgame. Minnesota's too good at home. They're too good. You need to be able to split in Minnesota and in Dallas. It needs to be 2-2 going into game 5 for both of these teams. Because if it's 3-1 on either side, you're screwed. Both teams are screwed if it's 3-1. Or either team is screwed if it's 3-1 favoring the other team. You're not coming back against that team. It's not happening. The Wild aren't coming back from 3-1 down. The Stars definitely aren't coming back from 3-1 down. So This game comes down to the Stars if they come to play today, which they better. And then finally, apparently the Ducks and the Oilers haven't faced off yet. You know how good Edmonton is with their two guys in Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. I literally almost said Cale Makar. I don't know what's wrong with me today. Give me the Oilers to win this game, win this series. I picked the Oilers to win this series in 6 games. I'm sticking with that right now. I know how good the Ducks have been this year, but I also know how young the Ducks are this year. Give me the Oilers to win this series in 5, probably 6 games, because I pick Anaheim to win both of their games in Anaheim. At first, win Game 3 and Game 4. Give me the Oilers to win this series in 6 games. That's all I got for you in the NHL. I didn't know that Game 1s were still facing off. I thought we'd seen all 16 series face off. Apparently, we'd only seen 15. I don't know how, but apparently they wanted to give a little bit of rest for the Ducks and the Oilers. It is what it is, though. Let's switch gears over to the NFL really quick. You've seen Dexter Lawrence get traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals get a guy to replace Trey Hendrickson, a big-time find for the Cincinnati Bengals. You heard Jeremy Lapidus say it this morning on the Triple Threat Show. If you didn't hear it, he literally said Dexter Lawrence is the number 1 D tackle in the NFL. Number 1. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, but he's definitely up there in terms of what he means as a presence on the defensive side of the ball. He definitely is one of those guys. He is one of those guys, and he continues to be one of the best guys in the NFL at his position. I wish I had a full list of top tackles in the league right now, but yeah, I mean, Dexter Lawrence is going to bring a different sort of edge to this Bengals team. They won't be just actually giving up 40 points a game. They may be on the secondary because the secondary is still a mess, but you need to have some sort of presence. You need a guy to anchor that team, and they finally get it. This is a big-time season for Joe Burrow and his future in Cincinnati. If Cincinnati continues to struggle in the playoffs, I don't blame him. Get Joe Burrow out of there because he's that good of a player. He's that good offensively as a quarterback. He's a top 3 quarterback when he's healthy. Let's get that out of the way. When Joe Burrow is healthy and slinging that rock, he is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Put him up behind a legit offensive line. Put him in Chicago. Even put him in Green Bay instead of Jordan Love, and that makes the Packers team a legit champion, Super Bowl contender. That's how good Joe Burrow is. And we saw it in 2020 2021 when he went to the Super Bowl. We've seen it when he plays up against Kansas City, against Patrick Mahomes. He's the only guy that Patrick Mahomes really fears. He's the only guy that's beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, in the AFC. That's how good he is in the playoffs. That is how good of a pocket passer he is. He can go toe-to-toe with any quarterback if you give him the guys to do it. He's that good, precise. He's probably the most accurate QB we've seen since Tom Brady was in the league. But when we're talking about this right now, you need to bring a legit team around the Bengals right now if you want to keep Joe Burrow happy, if you want to keep him in Cincinnati. And I think that's why they were willing to part ways with their number 10 overall pick. Now, the Giants get their number 10 overall pick. They get 2 picks in the top 10. Behind what's already a loaded roster, they get to add 2 more top 10 picks. They get the number 5 and the number 10. They've already said they're interested in the wide receiver over in Ohio State. And apparently, I don't agree with this because you have a guy by the name of, you have the running back up there. Why am I blanking? Holy shit. I'm actually blanking on so many names today. I apologize. But you already have a phenomenal running back up there in New York with the Giants. He got hurt earlier this year, but he'll be back. Don't you worry. But you want to get Jeremiah Love as well? John Harbaugh's apparently been all over him. I don't see it, but apparently he is. They're also interested in Jordan Tyson. I apologize. That was the guy I was thinking of. Jordan Tyson is a wide receiver they're interested in, and he's possibly one of the best wide receivers in this draft. But if they want to get Jeremiah Love instead of a guy like a Sonny Styles, I think you're out of your mind if you're the Giants if you don't get Sonny Styles. Because you don't need another running back. I wish I could remember his name. But you just don't need another running back over there in New York. That offense is loaded enough. You need a guy that can support what to support the hole that Dexter Lawrence just left you. Now there isn't a guy that you can give up that you can find in in the top 10 that can take that role. In the entire draft, there is not a single guy that can fill that role that Dexter Lawrence was. There isn't. You're just not going to find it. Not any. It's just not that kind of draft. You're not going to find another Abdul Carter over there. But you have to be able to try. Maybe you trade the number 5 overall pick for a guy. Maybe you can trade somebody for an all pro. Maybe. But I think you can go out there and find a guy in the secondary that can take that spot. You can find a wide receiver that could make the offense even more dynamic than it already is. You can take some of that pressure off of Malik Neighbors and give Jackson Dart another threat on the opposite side. Make something similar to what Cincinnati has with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Give Malik Neighbors a Jordan Tyson, and it's a different Giants offense. I still can't remember the running back's name, but it's okay. It's okay. I do think the Bengals needed to make this move. Cam Scatterboo. Finally, I typed up his name. He showed up. Cam Scatterboo, who was an absolute monster in the regular season when he was healthy. But if you can get a guy that can, let me go back to what I was saying. If I think the Bengals won this trade, they needed to make this trade to keep Joe Burrow happy, to keep the team competitive in a really, really hot AFC North with a Ravens team that's reloaded with Jesse Minter, who is going to revamp that entire team. I think the Ravens are going to come out of the AFC this year. Yes, I've said that over the last 2 years as well, but I think John Harbaugh was the reason they didn't get there. The coaching, the last-minute decisions, the late-game clutch decisions that he made, sometimes going for 2, the fumbles by Zay Flowers. I think Jesse Minter is going to focus on the defense, the defensive mind that he is, the defensive mind that he was in LA. He's going to bring some of that over there to Baltimore. And this Baltimore team is going to turn into a different team than we saw last year. They're not going to be relying on Lamar Jackson's legs as much. They may be at some points, but they'll use it more sparingly. They'll use Derrick Henry more often in the run game. They'll get more guys. They'll be able to draft some guys as well to support this, just to support what Jesse Minter wants to do. So I think this Ravens team is going to be different this year. This is going to be a different team this year. And I'll be back tomorrow, probably tomorrow. The NFL draft starts on the 23rd, so in 3 days, on Thursday. I should be back in the next couple days, probably tomorrow, to do a full mock draft with Jeremy and the rest of the crew. I expect to be back. But when we're talking about this show for today, who won that trade on Saturday, whatever it was, I think it was on Saturday, Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, because the Giants, you can't just fill that hole that Dexter Lawrence just left. Even though you do have a guy in Kayvon Thibodeau, who I really like, and Abdul Carter standing opposite of him. Those are 2 DNs. They're not a D tackle. And you need to find an inside guy to take that role. That's all I'm saying. So that goes after that trade. Let's go after the trade that came today. I've already been talking for 58 minutes. Real quick. Patriots trade for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is leaving this Philadelphia Eagles after 2 years of being on the trade block. Literally 2 years since that Super Bowl. After what we saw, that fight with him and oh my God, I can't. Him and the coach, Nick. Oh well, I'll remember it another time. I actually can't remember anything for the life of me today. But after what we saw, that fight that he had with him and the coach in the Super Bowl, after what we saw, the dud year, the down year that he had this year with the Eagles, he was getting more reps than Devon. He was standing behind Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts was preferring Devontae Smith as a wide receiver 1. Now, does that mean something with A.J. Brown? That's something to be seen. Is that something to do with the temper, with how he feels with his role on the team? That's to be seen. But he gets his guy back in Mike Vrabel. The guy that drafted him, the guy that coached him when he got into the league, that guy with the Titans, he gets him back. He gets to sit behind a legit pocket passer in Drake May, one of the most accurate QBs in the league right now. With what we saw this year, he needs to be in that conversation. With the team that just went to the Super Bowl, that was missing another offensive threat to stand opposite of Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte, Diggs isn't there anymore. Kayshon Boutte is apparently on the trade block. That's something that we're going to talk about as we get closer to the draft. When we do our show with me and Jeremy and Nolan, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the Patriots right now got an upgrade with A.J. Brown. This is a team that's really gotten better since the offseason started. They get the guy from they lose the guy to Baltimore. They lose their safety presence, their young safety to Baltimore. But they are able to get some guys in the offseason. We'll do a full offseason breakdown with Trey Galotis as well as we did on the Triple Threat show earlier last year. A lot of people, I bet. If I look at my comments, a lot of people are probably clowning me right now. But I just think this team is ready to go. They're finally starting to get ready. They get their guys back when they need them back. And I think this Patriots team is reloaded. A.J. Brown's going to bring a different presence to this team. And the Patriots are going to be ready to go and ready for a tough schedule waiting for them this year. I think they're going to be ready to go. I would not downplay what they've been able to build over there in New England. And I think this team is going to be different come next year. That's all I got for you. Really quick, the Red Sox are playing up against the Orioles, I think, right now. They lose. Actually, they're not playing today. They play tomorrow. No, actually, they beat the Tigers today. What am I saying? They beat the Tigers in the final game of the series, a 4-game series. They split with the Tigers. Win today, 8-6. Garrett Crochet, we saw yesterday, have a really bad day. Another bad day for Garrett Crochet. He's not giving his ERA any help. Gives up 7 runs. Goes five innings, but gives up 7 runs. Or 5 runs, actually, excuse me. In the 5th inning, and the Red Sox just couldn't keep up. They get the Yankees tomorrow. So we'll see how that all goes down. They lose Sonny Gray as well in the 3rd inning. That's something that we're going to have to keep our eye out on, especially when they have a guy by the name of Cam Schlittler waiting for them for the Yankees. We saw what Cam Schlittler was for them last year in Game 3 of the wild card round against the Red Sox. Every Red Sox fan remembers that. Every Yankees fan remembers that because that's the first time the Yankees have beaten the Red Sox in the playoffs in like 30 years. So, of course, any Yankees fan is going to remember that game, remember that series. But he's waiting for them. So, when you're looking at this Red Sox team right now, they have a good chance in Boston in this series coming up to actually show what they have to offer, to actually remind the world how good of a team they are. Are they going to do that? Hell no. They're going to lose another series and probably get swept by the Yankees. Maybe they win one. But they're going to lose like 9-0 in that opening game against Schlittler. And then maybe they can go out there and win on Wednesday or Thursday. But we'll see how that all plays out. I honestly don't think so. I truly don't. I don't have faith in this Yankees team, in this Red Sox team anymore. They're what? 9-13. They're 4-8 on the road. They're 5-5 at home. They've been struggling this entire season. And they just can't get a series win. They won 2 series, actually. They won against the Cardinals and they won against the Brewers. One of those was on the road. One of those was at home. But other than that, they've been swept. They've been swept by the Astros. They've lost 2 of 3 to the Reds. They lost 2 of 3 to the Padres. And they just split to the Detroit Tigers. So, yeah, no, they're going to get absolutely roasted by the Yankees tomorrow. And yes, I'm wearing the hat and I'm saying that, but it doesn't matter. Give me the Red Sox to lose tomorrow, unfortunately, and it's going to be a pretty bad game. But I'll be back tomorrow to recap all the game ones that take place today in the NBA, in the NHL. Drop a follow here on TikTok, YouTube. I apologize for probably a little bit of a dud show. I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit more energy. Happy 420 to anybody that's celebrating, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.